Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to our YouTube live stream. We're going to present about Malta citizenship today, and then afterwards answer some of your questions live here on YouTube, comments, whatever it is regarding whichever program in our portfolio. Can you actually get Malta citizenship today as of November 2025 or moving forward into 2026? That's the question we're answering. And it's a technical question because Malta used to have its citizenship program. Now it doesn't, but it still does. What's the difference? No special effects, no editing, no censorship. This is live, this is raw, this is the exposed truth, just like the rest of our videos out there. And of course, all of our YouTube live subscribers and audience members will answer any questions on any of our global mobility investment migration programs afterwards as well. Quick introduction. My name is Reza, founder of INGWE, your solution provider for residency and citizenship solutions worldwide. We have an active portfolio of over 20 jurisdictions and services that opens up a world of possibilities for professionals, families, business owners seeking optimized residency citizenship, whether it's for tax purposes, whether it's for return on investment, a plan B, lifestyle, whatever it is. And our goal is to keep more of your money in your pocket rather than paying it to governments for tax purposes who seem to represent less and less of their own people every day. We work both with B2B and B2C channels. What does that mean? We cooperate with financial investment advisors, multifamily offices, real estate firms, and developers, and directly as well with individual investors and families like yourselves. At INGWE, we've successfully helped thousands of investors and professionals since 2018 with overseas investment and programs. Our existing portfolio includes flat tax regimes, real estate to residency, zero tax personal income jurisdictions, crypto-friendly, direct citizenship, whether it's by merit, by investment, or donation, and of course, everything in between. Whether you're seeking to diversify your assets, aiming to retire comfortably without paying more to the tax man and enhance your quality of life with positive cash flow, maybe a plan B just for the future, your family, right? Finding crypto-friendly tax countries, or perhaps even acquire direct citizenship without moving anywhere, or fast-track residency, whether it's for yourself, your clients, or maybe future generations. We do offer a diverse range of options. We're not a typical sales company, so just want to get that clear. We educate you, provide you with the resources, the facts, guide you, help you weigh all your options based on risk, return, and matching your short-term, medium, and long-term goals. You can consider us as a, let's say, custom solution provider. Our global partnerships and multilingual team ensure that no matter where you're coming from or where you're planning to invest, you will have seamless support through the whole process. This is not a one-time, we're there at the beginning and disappear. You can engage with our office through the links below this video on our YouTube channel, social media, and our website. Let's jump into it. Is citizenship still a possibility in Malta? And folks, yes, we're going to answer all of your YouTube questions, so bear with us. We'll be there answering all kinds of questions from all sorts of programs. The answer to the question whether Malta citizenship is still possible is technically yes. Practically, no. It'll be like playing Russian roulette, and we're going to explain why. The Malta Citizenship Investment Program was one of the most sought-after programs by individuals and families seeking an immediate EU passport without actually living there, taking a language exam, residency, nothing. It usually took 13 to 14 months for the whole process for many of our clients, and you would not have to have resided there full time, although 2-3 visits to Malta bare minimum was recommended before you could become eligible and, obtain the citizenship through that program. As Americans or other nationals from countries with more powerful passports who wanted to trade in their passports for another, it didn't make sense to trade in a powerful passport for a Caribbean passport or another program with a less powerful passport. So Malta, because it's a full EU member, made it an ideal candidate to obtain this citizenship and give up your previous citizenship if you had to, or if you wanted to, like many Americans did, due to the taxation by citizenship regime in the US. Now that's all gone, the Malta Citizenship Program. Let's look at the EU court ruling, old scheme status. The previous golden passport, as they call it, direct investment, was legally terminated earlier in 2025. The European Court of Justice, CJEU, delivered a landmark judgment. If you want to look up the case, it's case C181/23 on April 29th, 2025. So in April 2025, the ruling that the scheme violated EU law. They explicitly found that granting nationality, citizenship, in exchange for predetermined payments or investment amounts to the for the purposes of commercialization of citizenship, which is fundamentally incompatible with the nature of the union citizenship. And this is the theme going forward now. Any citizenship-based programs are being scrutinized. So any citizenship programs that are just pay and get a passport are being scrutinized by US, EU, and a lot of these Western nations. And Malta got its program shut down. The court emphasized the program breached the principle of sincere cooperation among the member states of the EU and violated the concept of citizenship by operating without ensuring genuine link between the applicant, who wants the Malta citizenship, and the country itself. The minimal residency requirement, 12 or 36 months, was deemed insufficient because that was the minimum residency. You didn't even need to live there for 12 months. They had a fast track 12 months and they had a 36-month slow track, which most people didn't do that one. But what paths remain open now that that's gone? The EU cracked down, shut it down. Two legal pathways for obtaining Maltese citizenship remain for third country nationals, for non-EU citizens. Citizenship by naturalization for exceptional services or merit. Call it CES/M. Citizenship by exceptional services or merit, CES-M. The reform non-transactional route. So this is not you pay, you get the citizenship. And then citizenship by naturalization for long-term residents, the standard path that most Western countries or many countries in the world have. You have a residency, you get a citizenship after a certain amount of time, language, cultural integration. So let's look at these alternatives. Are they legit? This citizenship by naturalization for exceptional services merit in Malta. I know many programs, it's legit. But what is the Malta one? And then what if you get a PR in Malta through the permanent residency program and live there, learn the language? Maybe your kids will do that. Maybe you're too old to do that, like me. And will they get citizenship? Let's look at that. Is it legit? I mean, this whole exceptional services merit citizenship is a real alternative or just like a political placeholder? This is a new reform legal alternative designed to be EU law compliant. That's why Malta has it now instead of the previous one. The Maltese Citizenship Act was amended in July 2025 after the EU ruling, Act XX1, which is whatever, of 2025, Article 10, subsection 9, specifically to remove the transactional elements of that previous citizenship program. It is no longer a citizenship by investment scheme, but a discretionary recognition of contribution to Malta for applicants who may be deemed viable to obtain citizenship. In July 2025, amendments removed the fixed predetermined financial contributions that were there in place before, the 600,000 and 750,000 euros, depending on which fast track program you selected. Financial investment alone is no longer sufficient with the new program in Malta. The focus is now solely on the merit and the value of contribution, making it a purely discretionary program, merit-driven route. However, we have heard from our sources that although they state 750,000 euro donation is the new program based on merit, you don't stand a chance if you don't donate 2 million euros and create more ties with this little island full Schengen EU member. It's still a merit-based program. You're going to donate, whether it's 750,000 or 2 million euros, and you need to create stronger ties. It must be an exceptional service to the Republic of Malta or to humanity, or be of an exceptional interest to Malta. And that's where the donation comes in, right? Like you're donating and you're creating ties, and they're like, oh, wow, great. Kind of like Austria does it. This is demonstrated through proven documented achievements in science, technology, entrepreneurship, or philanthropy. There you go. Not everyone is an athlete or an art or an influencer or some brainiac Einstein, right? So you got deep pockets. You're going to spend it on a philanthropic activity in Malta. But what we've heard is even 750,000 euros is not going to get you through the gates. It could be closer to 2 million. Who qualifies and who definitely doesn't? High net worth individuals, global leaders, innovators with verifiable track records or exceptional contributions, in addition to evidence of lawful residence and integration into Malta. Yeah, there's a lot to absorb here. So it's not just like you have money. They're going to look at your profile, your professional profile. Those who just want to get the EU passport, don't want to spend any time in Malta, no ties to Malta, and just want to pay and get it, it's not going to happen, okay? Since this is brand new, reform, non-transactional system, because of the the EU court's ruling in April 2025 and the amendments of the Malta Citizenship Act in 2025, there's currently no established public track record of successful applications under this new discretionary framework. This is a critical point of uncertainty for advisors and applicants and clients looking at Malta citizenship. So there's no one person you can actually find who received their Malta citizenship through this citizenship by merit program. And that's the question that you have to ask yourself. Are you willing to play Russian roulette? No offense to any Russians. I love Russian roulette. Not necessarily Russian roulette, maybe just roulette. But anyways, remember, folks, we're always posting about these key details for investors, families, and business owners for new programs and policy changes seeking overseas investments that lead to residency, maybe tax residencies, citizenship solutions like we're doing today, or positive return on investment for investors. And if that's what you're interested in, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel for more deep down dive videos. Can the Malta Permanent Residency program, and this is the second route for Malta citizenship, if you get a Malta PR, can it lead to citizenship if you live there, integrate, and learn the language? Is it a viable option instead of living in Italy or in Spain or Greece? Is Malta a better route? So how residency works. The Malta Permanent Residency Program, MPRP, is the primary residency route. It requires a portion of your funds to be donated and contributed to the Malta government, and the real estate portion, which can include either a rental agreement for a residency in Malta at 400,000 euros plus per year rent, or you can opt to purchase real estate in Malta at minimum 375,000 euros plus. We've done some Malta real estate content in the previous week, so take a look at that. There's a lot of insight into how the special designated zones work, how you purchase outside of these zones, what's the typical price range, what's the supply demand, what are some good areas, right? So we've covered all that in our previous content. Whichever you prefer, there's no obligation to buy, you can just rent. This program grants permanent residency, not citizenship, in Malta. The Malta Permanent Residence Program is not subject to the same EU scrutiny as the old citizenship scheme, as it only grants residency, not citizenship. I would also like to point out that the residency is a permanent residency that allows the applicant to reside indefinitely in Malta, doesn't expire, but the card has to be renewed. So you have indefinite residency, permanent residency in Malta. Your PR card just has to be renewed every 5 years with a biometric. And you don't need to live there or reside there. But of course, if you're looking at becoming a citizen through the PR program, let's look at this Maltese Citizenship Act, CAP 188, which establishes who may become citizens of Malta by naturalization, provided the applicant satisfied the relative provisions in the Act. Article 10, subsection 1 of Cap 188 regulates the acquisition of citizenship on the basis of residence in Malta. Ultimately, the minister responsible for citizenship matters has the discretion to grant or refuse the application under such provisions. What does that mean? It means you meet all the criteria. Doesn't mean you'll get it. It's up to them. Who can apply for multi-citizenship by naturalizations on the basis of residency in Malta? Let's look at the basics. You got to be 18 or over. You can submit your citizenship application, of course. You've resided in Malta 12 months immediately preceding the date of application. So you should be in Malta at least 12 months the whole time before you submit the application. You've resided in Malta for a total of 4 years in the past 6 years. Okay. Before the 12 months that you spent there full time. Okay. You have to be a person of good character. Basically means you didn't kill anyone, or you didn't rob anyone, or do a Ponzi scheme and get caught. Remember, it's only illegal if you get caught. No, I'm just kidding. Has adequate knowledge of Maltese or English language, and would be suitable citizen of Malta. These are literally in the act. These are literally the regulations, right? So you could get away without knowing Maltese, but very unlikely. And at the end of the day, even if you meet all this criteria, can you become a citizen? Well, it's not guaranteed. You could have your children grow up there, become citizens, apply for citizenship, but you got to integrate. You got to have like a nice portfolio, profile, a CV, like what have you done in Malta, right? Not just besides the residency and language. There's a whole bunch of stuff they're looking at, right? So it's very discretion. In a nutshell, this means there's no guarantee they can obtain Malta citizenship, even if you obtain Malta PR and reside there full time, meeting all language and cultural integration requirements. You may get it, you may not, and there's no legal pathway to challenge the minister's decision on why didn't you give it to me. There's a lot of cases pending for Malta citizenship through naturalization. There's a backlog, and there's no certainty. Right? You may need to become a serious donator of politicians' campaigns, perhaps throughout the 4 or 5 years you live there, to make some powerful friends, if you know what I mean. But there's no guarantee in Malta. That's the issue. What other programs are available in 2026 and beyond for Americans and other applicants seeking unique programs or citizenship solutions? Now that the Malta's program seems like a far-fetched for anyone who really wants a passport, or perhaps it's just risky to spend all that time and money without the assurances of obtaining citizenship, what other realistic options do exist as of end of 2025 and moving into 2026? Of course, it's difficult to obtain an EU citizenship without full-time residency or a residency and language requirements. But here's a few ideas, and don't shoot the messenger. These are just options out there that I'm going to throw out so you're aware of it. Okay, it's not going to be exactly a Malta citizenship that used to happen, but this is the next best thing. And like I always say, when was the best time to plant a tree? Or when is the best time to plant a tree? Well, it was 20 years ago. When is the second best time? It's today. Okay, because what's available today may not be available in the future. Number one, Portugal offers a pathway to citizenship, although now it's 10 years timeline. You don't need to live there, though, throughout the 10 years. And that's what a lot of people forget. It is the only EU country where you can literally get away by spending only 35 days in 5 years, every 5 years, to become eligible for citizenship, plus the language requirement. Although this EU country has extended its timeline from 5 to 10 years for citizenship, it still remains one of the most viable options for EU passport. Second, I'm sure somebody can say that, hey, what if they change the rules again? They're not going to do it beyond 10 years because that's the cap. Spain and all these places, Bulgaria, Hungary, most countries have, and Italy have it at 10 years. So they've just adjusted it to meet, to be on par with other EU countries. What's the second option? Serbia's citizenship by merit. You can obtain a Serbia passport in roughly 6 to 8 months through a merit program. It's much more secure than Malta. However, you may ask, Serbia is not part of the EU, but here's the catch. You can invest in a citizenship in a country that will become an EU member in the future. I would have suggested Cyprus, but the program is also a residency to citizenship in Cyprus and needs language requirements and so forth. And, if you're not very well versed in the Greek language, then it could be challenging. Serbia is further down the line for EU membership, but it can be an investment in the future, and it depends on your professional profile. You make some donations with a strategically aligned program with the Serbian government, and because you cannot be an owner of a company in Serbia that's involved in a strategically important priority project in Serbia and be a foreigner, they have to grant you citizenship, so your donation or involvement in that project in Serbia can be aligned with the country's priorities. So it's Article 19. It's an exception, okay? But again, this is a long-term goal, that you want to have an EU passport of a country that will potentially become an EU member in the future. Argentina, number 3. It's supposed to offer its passport program in 2026, but although it has been officially announced, the program is not launched. There's no budget, there's no clarity, there's no department created. I mean, they've announced it, but nothing exists right now. This program may take until second half of 2026 to materialize, if it does, but it would be the most powerful and exclusive citizenship by investment program available at the time of launch, with more than 170 countries visa-free access. And we do have an official wait list to register your interest, so just send me a message and let me know. We'll register to keep you updated. We're keeping tabs on the Argentina program literally every 30 to 60 days. It's slow. It'll come. It's just not going to be immediate. The rest of the options will be similar to Portugal for citizenship, like residency to citizenship pathways without the need to live in that country full time, which many people are seeking. Besides Portugal, Panama is the other country that offers that. It's not EU, but it offers minimal residency 1 day every 2 years, and can lead to citizenship in 5 years. And it's a relatively good passport. Plus, it gives you E2 status with US, and it's a territorial tax system, which is excellent for people who are making money globally. Other programs, minimal residency to citizenship, are Bulgaria and Uruguay. Bulgaria, obviously, the language is going to be an issue in 10 years, but you don't need to live there the whole time. You just need to come. You cannot be absent 12 months continuously. Uruguay, you just come in a few times. There's some gray areas. And then the last option is El Salvador, which is straight out citizenship through donation program of $1 million US, paid in equivalent Bitcoin or USDT digital cryptocurrency. It's called the Freedom Passport program. Okay, it's been out there for a few years now. Of course, this passport isn't EU or has the same status or power. It's just an option to be aware of for anyone who's in the market now for a new Tesla. No, I'm just kidding, a new passport. To conclude, Malta wouldn't be the first choice for citizenship program currently because there's just too much risk. But it has one of the most solid permanent residency programs in all of EU, where you don't even need to live there and you can continue to hold that PR to that EU country. Serious families and applicants looking for a powerful citizenship, besides the Caribbean passports, which are a dime a dozen these days, do have options, but they may not be as straightforward to buying an EU passport anymore, which means you need to invest in the long run, whether it's the Portugal's new 10-year program, maybe it's Serbia in the future, maybe you're up to learning Cypriot, like Greek, and you want to do the Cyprus because in the next 2 years they plan to become a full Schengen member. They're already EU member, right? There's some options out there. You got to make sure you're aware. And if you want to stay in tune, we've got a monthly newsletter as well, where we tell you what's really going on in the world. If you're tired of taxes or just see no point in paying 30, 40, 50% taxes on your personal income, it's time to think outside of your borders, right? At INGWE, we've dedicated at crafting solutions to meet your specific residency and citizenship needs, clear upfront processes, payment milestones, peace of mind. We're there throughout the whole way. We offer a variety of programs to match your goals, backed by our expert guidance. Our commitment is transparency, choice, and security. You make the decision. We give you the options and the facts. No program is perfect. Is anything in this world? With comprehensive professional insurance, client trust accounts with our North American banking institutions, we protect your interests. Plus, our multilingual team supports applicants from over 55 different countries. Ready to take the next step? Click the link below. Our intake form takes 60 seconds, literally. Okay, and we can get on a call if you qualify for any of the residency, citizenship, investment, or donation programs that we offer. You can also book a one-on-one consultation with me or any of my licensed team members using the links below. Okay, folks, we're here answering your questions. We got a lot of questions right now. We got El Penny Wise 23. Hey, sir. Hello back. I did spread the word as per your request about the big announcement regarding SUV from Arizona. However, no such announcement has been made, and now the group chat is questioning me. Haha. Oh, don't worry. It's coming. It's just we cannot prophetize on what exact date. Okay. Please let me know what to do. Is it too much pressure? Haha. I'm thinking and leave the group chat and leave the country. What should I tell them now? You're my source. Urban wise, Malta is a good option, by the way. Yeah, Malta is a good EU country. You don't even need to live there, but of course, passport is a bit of a challenge. So Alpenny Wise 23. The change is coming. Okay. Right now, there's two theories. We have information that is coming in November, so we're not still finished with November, so there's still opportunity. There's other insider information that the IRCC is taking very detailed surveys now from all the designated organizations on their existing startup groups, what stage they are, their progress. They used to do it on an annual basis, but they've actually have a survey specifically for this going on now with a deadline to submit by January 15th, 2026. The work permits, have they been refused? When did they apply? Are they in the country? When did they arrive? What kind of work permit it is? So so it's coming. We believe that in November, it's definitely a chance that it will still be announced, but it can also be done by next February because they're doing a survey. And usually when they do a detailed survey like that, a month later, after the deadline to collect all the data from Desona, they will process a major change. So what we know for a fact, Pennywise, is that a major change is going to happen. Can we predict in detail on what exact date? No, we're assuming it's a hypothesis. It's a working theory. It can happen this month. It can happen in February. That's the working theory. And we have to evolve our theory as we collect more data from the market, as we speak with more designated organizations. It's coming. Okay, so don't feel out of place or feel like, oh, I told them it's going to come and now they're making fun of me. Just stay silent. Okay, what are the things that potentially can be changed? They're talking about cap. They may reduce the cap by 5 again, so from 10 to go to 5. This is another way of limiting intake to handle the backlog. $200,000 minimum investment per startup group. This is another something that's been tabled between IRCC and the designated organization. And mandatory annual reporting to IRCC by the startup group, whether it's through this DO or them, on very specific details, whether it's the investment amount, the activity. So it's ongoing progress reports. And then we believe they may be looking at the work permit regime of startup visa, making it a little bit more strict. That's a working theory. Again, whether that happens this month or maybe there's a change this month announced and then there'll be another change in February. But it's coming. We don't know. No, it's kind of like the stock market crash of 2029 to 2030 that everyone knows. We can't pinpoint the exact time. We're not the Oracle from the movie Matrix, are we? No. Stay silent. Keep there. It's coming. Be a believer. SK999Y3K says, do you think the Caribbean passwords will lose access to the EU? Is there any CBI program, Citizenship by Investment program, with decent passport that are not donation, being able to recoup the investment, a bit of a return? Interesting questions, SK999Y3K. Yes, if you want a tangible investment, Antigua has bungalows. Grenada actually does have real apartment units, but you have to be looking at $600,000 plus to get like a real unit that you own, freehold title. I'm not talking about shares. And then there's the St. Lucia bond program where you can liquidate the government bond in 5 years, okay, and recoup $300,000 of your initial investment. So those are my top 3 picks if you want a tangible investment. Those bonds won't give you ROI. It's just recouping your money, relatively safe. The real estate is good with Antigua and Grenada, like real units, not shares, something that you hold freehold title, but you got to push higher amounts. So what I feel like, if you're gonna, like, why not just donate or put some, in one of these share programs, 280 or 300,000? Why put 600,000 or 500,000 in something that it'll give you an ROI, like 3-4% per year, whatever, after all the management fees to manage the property. But then, how much money are you going to do capital gain? What's the opportunity cost? Can you invest somewhere else and make more money with that price difference, right? Keep in mind, Caribbean islands are implementing a 30-day mandatory residency starting next year. So anyone who obtains a citizenship or wants to renew their passport has to spend 30 days in the islands within a 5-year period to be able to renew their passport. So again, maybe the real estate option is something more tangible and real, right? So Antigua, Grenada, but the real estate, not the shares, not the hotels, not all those programs where you really don't own anything, right? Yes. Will they lose EU access? It's difficult to say. They could. So that risk is there. Hence, you got to be careful. Hence, you got to hedge. So if you're doing a Caribbean citizenship by investment, you should also invest in a residency to citizenship program in another country, which can give you citizenship maybe 5, 6, 7, 10 years down the line. So in case you do lose that EU access, or you buy a EU residency like Malta, Italy, Cyprus, Greece. Cyprus is not part of Schengen yet, but Greece. So even if your Caribbean passport loses the EU visa-free access, you've got an EU full-time residency card. That'll give you full-time EU access. You can even study, work, invest, or do whatever in that specific EU country, which you cannot do with the Caribbean passport. Caribbean passport just lets you come in with a tour as a tourist. But let's say you've got Caribbean passport, or let's say a Nauru passport, and you combine it with an EU residency, whether it's Malta, Greece, whether it's Portugal, Cyprus. Cyprus, again, it's not Schengen, but we've got Italy, Bulgaria, Hungary. The whole works, right? So that's my 2 cents on the matter. If you combine, that's hedging your risk with the Caribbean passports losing EU visa-free access. How does so we got some other questions. Rosita says, hello, Rezajun. Hello back to you, Rosita. She's one of our regular audience members watching our YouTube live. SK999Y3K also says, how long does it take to get Serbia passport? There's no guaranteed timeline that's posted on any website, but it can take anywhere from 6 to 8 months if you plan it correctly, if you qualify. So they have to first review your professional profile, because this is a by merit, by exception program, right? It's not available for anyone. Johnny Depp has a Serbian passport. Steven Seagal has a Serbian passport. They don't speak Serbian. And there's a lot of influencers and professionals, business people who have obtained Serbian passports. The official stats are 400 people, according to government, but in the market, it looks like there's more than 2,000 people over the last, let's say, 10 years who've received Serbian citizenship. So it's not for everyone, but 6 to 8 months to go through the whole process and receive that by exception. Is it realistic to obtain a Panama passport? Thought it was not feasible in practice. How about dual citizenship? Yes, great questions, SK9999Y3K. I feel like I know you, SK9999Y3K. Maybe we've been in touch through email. Anyways, Panama, we recommend that you spend 6 months at the end of the 5-year period before you apply for citizenship to improve your ties. learn the language a little bit for the interview. The cultural exam is easy. We've got the questions and answers. It's the same for 20 years. But so you can establish those ties and spend some time there so it can be practical. It doesn't allow dual citizenship, you're right, but they don't enforce it. So all they do is say, this is, do you take an oath that this is your own citizenship? You say yes. They don't enforce it. So you still have your passports in your pocket, okay? But the Panama one is there as well. They don't enforce it. It's not like Bulgaria, Hungary, like Japan or China or India. It's a little bit more relaxed, okay? So there are some practicalities to it. And yes, it's not going to be a perfect, like it's not a straight out citizenship program. You've got to create those ties. It's better than a Malta citizenship. I'll tell you that for sure. And it's not as expensive as a Portugal or Malta or Serbia. So Panama is a long-term investment because we feel like the investment will even increase in the next 3 years, 4 years, from 300,000 to 500. And then the friendly nations is at 200,000 right now. Ash H8F. Hi Reza, I like the live stream. Any news insight from SUV update? But the real issue is the backlog. How will they clear it? I feel like they might not even clear it, Ash H8F. They could, but IRCC, they don't think logically like humans do. I don't know. It's no offense if anyone's watching from IRCC. You're all human. We're all human. But they don't think normally. So the logic would be to stop intake, pause intake, and process the backlog, set up some stuff. They don't want this program to be attractive. They don't want this program to succeed. They hate this program. I'm sorry to say this. It's the truth. They hate this program. So having the backlog there is kind of what they're looking for. And yes, the C12 risk of, there's theories that they'll come and wipe everyone out. I don't think it's happening. I think by waiting, you can wipe out your enemy. That's how they think. They're smart. They're smart. During the World War II, I'm not a historian, but like Russia and the Germans attacked and they got wiped out because of the winter and the harsh weather and all that distance, no food, no shelter, right? I think that's what the Canadian government is like. They're literally the Stalins. They want you to dry out. They're like, which startup is going to survive 35 to 85 years? You're like, isn't it 10 years on the IRCC website? Yeah, 10 years it maxes out. They can't show 12, 15, or 20. You calculate the backlog, it's literally 85 years. Which startup will survive 85 years? 10 years, 20 years, even 5 years, damn it. They know nobody will survive it. So why create a backlash from all the VCs, the big lobby groups of incubators and angel investors, when they can just say, squeeze that pipeline and then create a massive backlog and just say, and then create new criteria of reporting and investment, and then just watch them fail one by one through all the years. Why not do that? See, that's genius from their point of view, right? Because they see you as an enemy. They don't want to let any startups in. They want to limit it, right? And that's their strategy. I feel like they don't even need C12. They literally have implemented C12 indirectly with this whole backlog. Let the backlog grow. Let the program become unattractive. Let these startups just dry out and just give up, withdraw, cancel, or we can refuse them in 10 years and say, what the hell did you do in 10 years or 20 or 30? Anyways, I may be a bit of a skeptic, but it seems like IRCC has a pretty good strategy. If it's you, the startups, us against IRCC, they seem to have the upper hand because who holds the gold will make up the rules, right? Whatever saying that is. So they make up the rules as they go along. And we've got to adjust. You were planning for 3 years, 2 years, 5 years for SUV. Now it's 10, 20, 35, 85. In a simulation I did, it was 188 years with the AI if they go at 250 a year processing, if they go for the lower target. Because remember, their target of 500 people per year is ideal target. It's not the lowest. If you do a low simulation that what if they just process 250 for the next few years or until the backlog? It's 188 years. But anyways, I don't want to upset anyone. I don't want to shock anyone, but we're just talking here, right? It's alive, unedited, uncensored. It's just an editorial. Nashvan Ali 3241. If Bill C-12 passes in Canada, do you think RCC would cancel a high number of SUV cases, specifically the non-priority? It could be, but I feel like they can also have liability cases, lawsuits. And I feel like although C-12 is a real risk, and we've mentioned it, what I just discussed with H8F that you've heard is also a pretty good strategy. We don't need C-12. We're just going to drag this on for so long. So imagine you're running in a marathon. It's supposed to be 1 kilometer. Suddenly halfway through, they're like, oh, we just converted it to a 100-kilometer marathon. How many people will actually finish that marathon and win? Probably not many, maybe none. Feel like there's C-12. They don't even need C-12. But C-12 is a real risk. We can't write it off completely. SK999138 says, you are the best. Thank you for answering my questions. Love all your videos. Thank you for that positive feedback. Not everyone loves our videos. I must admit, there's a lot of people there that don't like what we say on this show. And I know L Pennywise 23 is also giving the info in the big startup visa WhatsApp group, and they've called her or him out saying, oh, that's BS, or there's no change coming. The change is coming. Okay, it's just we don't know exactly when. We have to have working theories. We have to be aware. So the key is Pennywise, and of course, all our folks here, even with Nashvan Ali, Ash H8F, is that we have to be proactive. So we can't just lie back and be like, hey, whatever. Let's just do what we're always doing. No, you got to be prepared. There are changes coming. So you got to be proactive and be prepared. So it could be November and it could be in February. If we get more details over the next month, well, it's a working theory. Again, the stock market crash is coming in 2029, 2023, 2030. But do you know what day, what month? No. We know it's coming. So you got to prepare. You got to hedge. You got to arbitrage. That's the key. Okay. This is not a perfect science. And as I said, we're just here to provide you the data, facts, and then work together on these theories. The Truth by J. EU citizenship is overrated. Residency is much better. In my opinion, Canada's citizenship is the best. So what are the best options to get it? Well, yes, Canadian citizenship is fast and good so far before they change that as well. Who knows? Probably. But you have to get a permanent residency first. Truth by J. EU citizenship, why I like it is because it's 27 countries. You can live in any of those countries as a permanent resident. So that's the key. You can't live in 27 countries with an American passport or an Argentinian passport or a Canadian passport. You can live in 10 provinces and 3 territories and regions. I mean, if you want to, but it's not the same as the 27 countries in EU. So that's why people like the EU. But I agree with you. Canadian citizenship is awesome because we're not taxed by citizenship like the Americans do. We can become non-residents when you have a Canadian passport and leave and say, goodbye, I don't want to pay your taxes. I'm going to live in Panama, Dubai, Malta, who knows, Estonia, maybe a non-dom tax residency in Italy, a bit more expensive, but I would prefer Greece. And then, of course, there's Cyprus, all these great places where you don't really need to pay all that money to the tax man so they can blow your money, those politicians. You know what I mean, right? If you believe that politicians blow money and they don't represent you, thumbs up to this video. If you love politicians and what they do with the people's money, do not do a thumbs up to this video, okay? However, Truth by Jay, you got to get a PR first in Canada. That's the problem. Everything looks like it's 8 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. So if you can't get a PR, how will you become a citizen? Well, you can get married to a Canadian. Yeah, that's good. I'm not a bachelor. I'm not available, but maybe somebody else. Just kidding. But other programs, you need to know French. Okay, if you're willing to learn French and become fluent and blah, 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 that's an option. Express entry, maybe. Go to the rural communities up north, get a job offer, or spend some time there. The problem is these programs are not realistic. Nobody's going to wait 10 years or 5 years or even 3 years if there's so much uncertainty and they change the laws every 2 months, every month, every 6 months. Why would you do that? That's my problem with Canadian citizenship, is because you can't even get a PR to get a citizenship in the first place. But in Europe, you can get it in 4 to 6 to 8 months, depending on which country. Italy gives it in 3 months. Sure, getting a PR is way more, but Greece gives it quickly. Cyprus gives it quickly. Malta gives it in 6 to 8 months. It's permanent residency. Sure, if you're looking at citizenship, I still go with Portugal, although it would take a year and a half. Way better than Canada. I love Canada as well, but that's because I have the passport already. Okay. Ash8HF. Anyone got approval through SUV recently? Any idea? We have not heard of any groups that have received approval in the last 60 days. We've heard about a lot of refusals. As I said, IRCC was doing a lot of spring cleaning, let's just say it. AshHF, I'm in priority processing. Yes, a lot of people are. We have to wait and see. That's the problem. Working theories are potential change in November. If not February, it's coming. It is coming. It's the storm. We're like the weatherman. I'm like the weatherman. I should change my channel name. I'm the weatherman. I'm the SUV weatherman or the global mobility weatherman. I make predictions. It's going to happen, but the timing is horrible. You know how the weather channel is like, tomorrow it'll rain and it'll be like sunny. And then the next day it'll be like, it's going to rain for 3 straight days. And then you got like 3 sunshine, days or whatever. Everything is like opposite. It will happen. It's just the timing is not right. Anyways, folks, great meeting everyone. Thanks, Ash8F, SK9999Y3K. I feel like I know you from somewhere, by the way. Okay. Rosita, and who else we got in the L Pennywise 23? Stay strong, L Pennywise 23. Stay strong. Don't let the haters put you down. Just stay calm. Don't fight back. Let it be. Okay, let it be. SK999, Rosita, Ash8F, everyone who joined, and people in the shadows, in the back where you're not commenting or anything. And by the way, folks, if you don't like this video, press a like, because they're gonna fire me. Okay, who knows who'll come after me? I mean, So do a like if you don't want me to lose my job here at INGWE. Okay, all I need is like 6, 7 likes, who knows, or 1 million likes. No, I'm just kidding. Ash8F, did you hear this? With 2115 PRs landed from January to September 2025 under the SE and SUV self-employed sort of visa, IRCC has reached 105.8% of the 2025 annual target in the first 3 quarters, 725 under self-employed and 1,390 under SUV. No, I don't have verifiable sources or information to confirm that. Ash8F. There is some numbers there that make sense, but there's some stuff that doesn't make sense. But no, we cannot verify or validate that, unfortunately. Folks, if you like this video, press like. We'll be here next Thursday again, live 11:30 North America Eastern Standard Time, local time in Toronto, Ottawa, Montreal, New York, Miami, Michigan, Detroit, wherever you love East Coast. We're here 11:30, and we're going to talk about global mobility, citizenship solutions. And if you missed this video, come back. We have all our videos recorded, transcripted, short videos, long videos, and these live streams. And we're talking about various citizenship programs today. And you can watch it again, and you can slow-mo me, because some people say I talk too fast, but that's okay. Slow motion on YouTube, slow motion. See you later, folks. Next Thursday again, but in the meantime, we'll release a whole bunch of videos. See you at comments section. Yes, Ash8F. Thanks again, folks. Take care, and remember, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The next best time is today. See you later. Bye-bye.